This month marks the 33rd edition of the popular Miami Book Fair International. Authors from all over the country and the world will be in Miami for readings, panel discussions, and an array of literary events for young and old. This year, the fair focuses on Miami as the unofficial crossroads of the Caribbean by establishing ReadCaribbean, a program featuring many Caribbean-specific events, including readings by authors, book signings, and more. Joining us now to discuss the contribution of Caribbean writers in literature, we welcome Edwidge Danticat, award-winning Haitian-American author of numerous books, including the acclaimed memoir, Brother, I'm Dying, and Haitian-American author Michelle Jessica Fievre. MJ self-published at the age of 16. She is the founder and editor of A Sliver of Stone magazine. And so ladies, welcome. Thank you for joining us today. Such a great pleasure to have you. So I want the viewers to have a sense of each and every one of you as such iconic writers. So Edwidge Danticat, I know that so many people around this world, around this community know who you are. So this is your maybe opportunity to tell folks what motivated you, what inspired you to become a writer?
Well, thank you so much for having us on the inaugural edition of this wonderful program. I was in love with stories, I think, probably from the time I was very little. And I come from a family that was really full of storytellers. So I started just by really listening to stories. And then when I started reading, had this desire to do the same thing in that intimate space between reader and writer. So that's really what's motivated me since the time I started writing into this day.
Okay. How about you, MJ? Same question for you.
I'm going to echo what Edwidge said about growing up with storytellers in the family, and I just remember having a passion for stories. I watched a lot of TV at first, like, you know.
That's a storyteller.
Right. Until my sister pushed me to read more, and I discovered that I could not put books down. And one day I was reading this, it was called Oui Oui et Son Goulot. It was one of those European child-oriented collections. Uh-huh. And I did not like the ending, and I decided to write my own ending. And my sister loved it, and I tried myself at stories a few days later.
Wow. And so you began to write formally at roughly what age?
I was really young. I can't remember when, okay. But having the support of my sister Patricia, I wasn't afraid to write childish things or things that would be criticized, because she loved me, she loved my stories. So I just went into writing without any assumptions about what I was doing, without any plan, without any fear.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So both of you are Haitian American, and so both of you have come to the United States at relatively young ages, 12, 13, if my memory serves me correctly?
12 for me.
12, and for you, MJ?
I was a little older, I was 21.
Oh,
so
you were 21. And so arriving here, what was this transition like for you, if you want to pick up on your last answer?
Well, at first I felt this need to assimilate. So for a while, I felt that I stopped being Haitian because I wanted so much to embrace this new world and fit in. And at some point, I had this sense of loss because I had spent so much time trying to adjust that I no longer knew who I was. So came the time for me to reassert myself as a Haitian woman. So yeah, that's how I would describe it: loss and then revival.
Okay. Okay. And so in school, formally, is this where your talents were nurtured? Was there a specific pathway for you? How did this come about for you? This journey to becoming this great writer that you are?
Well, for me, it started with school. I remember the first essay I wrote. I was in an ESL class in New York, but they'd gradually put you in, mainstreamed you, they called it. And then I had a teacher, it was around Thanksgiving, and I wrote an essay, and and I described the turkey as golden, and I thought that was so original. And my teacher was like, it's a cliche, but you just got here, so it's kind of interesting that you know it, and you should keep writing. And then I started when I was in high school writing for a high school newspaper that was distributed all around New York City. So the first thing they asked me to write was about Haitian Christmas, and I remember writing about cremas and all the things that were particular to our family. And that was my first publication. I was really shy, but other kids read it and reacted. They're like, we want to know more. And so that was really my big encouragement.
Mm-hmm. And so teachers had a lot to do with it, and mm-hmm. clearly the choices of institutions that you made helped to further you along. So to talk a little bit about that. Where else did you go? So when you graduate from high school, you go to college. Where did you go?
Yeah. Well, I want to highlight, especially for the parents who are watching this, when I got from junior high school, I came here when I was in junior high school, and then I got into a high school where at some point the kids were murdered, and that was my regional, local high school. Right. And my dad, who was a cab driver, went to that principal at this school, Clara Barton High School, and he says, this is where my daughter should be. I mean, and he just went to the principal's office and convinced the principal. By the time my dad left that principal's office, I was in the honors program.
Wow. Wow.
And I hadn't been accepted at the school. So that's a little story also for parents, to motivate parents to really be advocates for your children. And so after that, because of the honors program, I got into Barnard College, which is at Columbia University, and went to Brown University, where I did my MFA in creative writing.
Fantastic. MJ, how about you? So you arrived here at 21, you say?
Right.
And so what was your trajectory?
Well, it took me a while to figure out what I wanted to do in terms of college and careers. When I was in Haiti, I started in med school. I really thought I wanted to be a doctor until I realized that I had no time to write. I wasn't considering writing as a real profession. So it never occurred to me, hey, just go into writing. So when I came here, I had to make a choice. I knew I was interested in languages, so I decided to become a teacher. I wasn't sure what kind of teaching, what level. I was completely confused.
But you found a way to marry a number of loves, right? Teaching,
right, exactly.
writing.
So I went to Berry University, enrolled into the education program, and I started teaching literature. Mm-hmm. And from there, I went into FIU. They have a wonderful creative writing program for the International University. And I found out that I would love to do more of teaching writing to adults, I wanted that creation to take place and for me to be a part of it. So I went from teaching middle school to teaching college.
Okay.
And
between all of that, you found time to write.
I found time to write.
So
I could justify writing and working with other writers. It just fit together.
So what are your proudest titles, if I dare to ask you such a question? Because everything you write is a pride. But what are you most proud of?
I think my memoir, The Color of Chaos, is the book I'm the most proud of, because it took so much out of me, and I never thought that I would finish it. It was very emotional process. It was an emotional process, and at some point I just felt I couldn't finish this book. And the fact that I pushed through and was able to tell my story, it means something to me.
How about you, Edwidge?
I always say, the best and what I'm most proud of is what's yet to come.
Well, that's
and
appropriate.
so, but I have a book coming out next July, si Dieu veut. It's called The Art of Death, Writing the Final Story. And it's a book that talks about how other writers have written about death, and it's something I started working on after my mom passed away. And it was a way of sort of re-entering writing again through grief and other stories. I feel like that's what I'm most proud of to date, but it's probably because it's the it's the
one yet to be
exactly.
to be born. At any rate, so we mentioned the Caribbean, the book fair, right, and this opportunity for Caribbean writers to be part of this book fair. So talk a little bit about that, MJ. I know that you're curating some of the sessions.
Right. I'm really excited. I mean, talking about writing, I started thinking about some of my favorite authors, and they will be there.
Fantastic.
Edwidge Danticat, of course, is going to be among us. We have authors arriving from Haiti. There's Guy Victor, is my all-time favorite. His writing validated the type of writing that I wrote in Haiti, mystery and very based on Haitian culture. So we're having writers from all over the Caribbean get together in one room. On Saturday and Sunday, it will be a celebration of everything Caribbean. We're going to have people from Jamaica, from Trinidad, from Haiti, from so many different places, with so many different influences and sensibilities. And they are all coming together to show what the Caribbean has to offer. So I'm in the clouds.
Be more excited,
yes.
Absolutely. But what's the significance of Read Caribbean for you? What would you say that is, Edwidge?
Well, I think it's an acknowledgement that we have, first of all, readers in our communities, and it's a way of uplifting our writers. I mean, it's one of the struggles of especially Haitian youth, right, who might want to read Haitian writers but may not read Creole or French. And I mean, the fact that these writers, are in this setting or at the book fair, I think is very important to them, that we know. I mean, that's one of the things that we have, that we're the proudest of, that we have this great art, but we also have an extraordinary literature as Haitian people. And then to try to merge that with, bring those voices together with other writers throughout the Caribbean, I think is very empowering, especially as we live in this very multicultural, very Caribbean and Latin American space that is Miami.
Absolutely. And so you wanted to add, MJ, about the...
Yes, absolutely. Edwidge mentioned the diversity of languages. And one of the facts that we're most proud of is the fact that we're going to have an interpreter on site, so that even if you don't speak Haitian Creole or French, you get to experience the literature from Haiti. And I think that's extraordinary, and that's a great opportunity for maybe people who grew up here but with Haitian ties to come and discover aspects of their culture, and they can even bring their friends and boast about how great Haitian literature, Caribbean literature is.
So what are we looking forward to next year's book fair? What are you hoping will happen?
I'm hoping that the program, the Caribbean program, will grow more and more, and I have no doubt that it will, because we have such a strong and rich Caribbean presence in Miami that there's a need for us, for the Caribbean program, to be in place and serve the community.
Thank you for that. Thank you so very much. And so unfortunately, though, ladies, we're out of time, and we want to thank you both again for being here. Join us next month for another episode of Haitian Voices on Sunday, December 11th at 12:30, right here on WPBT2, South Florida PBS. I'm Gypsy Metellus. Thank you for watching. Contribution of Caribbean writers in literature, we welcome Edwidge Danticat, award-winning Haitian-American author of numerous books, including the acclaimed memoir, Brother, I'm Dying, and Haitian-American author Michelle Jessica Fievre. MJ, self-published at Danticat. I know that so many people around this world, around this community, know who you are. So this is your maybe opportunity to tell folks what motivated you, what inspired you to become a writer?
Well, thank you so much for having us on the inaugural edition of this wonderful program.
At the age of 16, she is the founder and editor of A Sliver of Stone magazine. And so, ladies, welcome. Thank you for joining us today. Such a great pleasure to have you. So I want the viewers to have a sense of each and every one of you as such iconic writers. So Edwidge. This month marks the 33rd edition of the popular Miami Book Fair International. Authors from all over the country and the world will be in Miami for readings, panel discussions, and an array of literary events for young and old. This year, the fair focuses on Miami as the unofficial crossroads of the Caribbean by establishing ReadCaribbean, a program featuring many Caribbean-specific events, including readings by authors, book signings, and more. Joining us now to discuss the